It begin with a hash, the kind that sleeps under your skin when the world is loud but no one is listening to you. The kind that makes you stop mid-motion, folding a towel, pouring coffee, and wonder, quietly, how the hell you ended up here if someone had told me, even 5 years ago, that I would one day sit perfectly still while two other people watched me come undone. I would have left in their face, slammed the door, and daban lacked it. Yet here we are, my name do este mete. Call me whatever feels right when you hear this. For a long time, the only name I said to was man, honey, for the silence that greeted me when he walked into a room. My husband let us call him David never raised his voice, never stepped out on me in the classic sense. It simply faded. It faded the way Kale leaves a photograph left too long in the sun. You don't notice it day to day, but one morning you pick it up and realize that it's are gone. He started wearing perfume only could smell. He started smiling at jokes he didn't hear. He started sleeping on my side of the bed like it was an island and he was another country. Then Ethan and Sage moved in next door the away young. Sun-kissed, barefoot have the time, always touching her hand and his neck. His fingers in her hair like affection was there and they refused to hold their breath. Their left floated over the fence on summer evenings. Bright and careless, se ve o eso se tuvo y met over mailboxes and recycling bins. They invited us for drinks and their patio the first week. Just neighbors, just wine, just talk. But their house felt different. Low lights, mismatched tracks, music that pulsed slow and deliberate. They looked at you when you spoke, really looked like they were memorizing the shape of your words. David loosened on them. I left Claude, leaned back in his chair, let his hand rest on my knee without thinking. I told myself that was enough. I told myself a lot of things, but Ethan looked at me like he could see the outline of everything he'd buried. And Sage would tilt her head and say the softest, most dangerous things. You carry sadness like it is a jewelry, she whispered once when the men were in the kitchen. It looks heavy, I should have walked away then. Instead I started choosing my clothes more carefully. A thin strap, a soft and clean. Lipstick the Caleb secrets, one night the four of us was sprawled across their sectional, bottles empty, candles bent low. Sage's head was on my shoulder, her hair smelling like coconut and smoke. Ethan was rubbing David's neck, casual, friendly, but the room felt suddenly small sight as her lips brushed my ear. Have you ever let someone just watch? I left too fast. David didn't laugh at all. A smile that have smiled at the scene since we were 25 and reckless. Say a change shape. We all felt it, nothing happened that night. Not with hands, not with mouths. But something started humming under my skin, something that had been asleep for years. After that, the invitations came without excuse. Wednesday evenings, Saturday afternoons. No more pretending it was about board games or new recipes. We would dive, the door already open, music already slow. They poured wine like they were pouring cake. One Friday in late August, the sky brushed people outside, thunder rumbling far off like it knew what was coming. Sage opened the door in a slip of ivy silk that cut the candle light and threw it back like water. Ethan stood behind her barefoot, shed and button, holding two glasses already filled. There were no small talks that night. No safe corners, we sat close enough that knees touched. Sage raised lacy secals and my wrist with one fingertip. Ethan asked David, low and steady, when is the last time you really looked at her? Not glanced, looked. David met hisses. Said nothing, but his hand found my thigh under the throw blanket, slow and deliberate, like he was remembering the way. Sage leaned in until her lips almost raised mine. We want a touch, she whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. We just want us, you remember who you are. My pulse was a trap bed. I should have stood up. I should have pulled David out up there and never looked back. Instead he looked at my husband, really looked, and saw something that flicked across his face. Not jealousy, not anger, recognition. Like I'd been waiting for someone to say it out loud. Squeezed my thigh once. Permission or send. I never know which. The room went quiet and quiet. Outside, the first fed drops of rain hit the windows. David's fingers slid under the hem of my dress, tracing the edge of lace like I was reading braille. It didn't stop him. I couldn't. My breath shook out of me, loud in the stillness. Sage settled back into the opposite chair, legs curled beneath her, as wide and shining. Ethan leaned against the wall, arms loose at his sides. Watching like this was the most natural thing in the world. And David my ear. Distant David touched me like the years between us had bent away, slowly, reverently. Like he was proving something to all of us. He came apart under his hands while I watched. No one spoke, no one moved. There was only the rain, my regret breathing, and the weight of four sets of eyes that so eager that piece of me lay there, When it was over, the silence stretched thick and shimmering. Sage smiled, soft and said, like she'd witnessed something sacred. Ethan inclined his head almost a bow. They slipped out without a word, closing the door so gently the click barely registered. David and sat there until the candles gutted. He didn't hold me after. I didn't ask him to. We walked home through the downpour, clouds clinging, not speaking. The space between us felt wider than ever, and, somehow, smaller till morning came dry and ordinary. David made coffee. I folded laundry. We moved around each other like ghosts. WHO had on shared a life we never talked about it. Not on said but something shifted inside the walls of our house. The silence was different now, charged, like the before lightning. I caught him watching me sometimes when he thought he wouldn't notice. Not with guilt, not with triumph. With questions I didn't know how to ask, and Mary stopped hiding from mirrors. I looked at the woman staring back and didn't recognize her, but I didn't hate her either. She looked awake weeks later. We still waved the titan and sage over the fence. They still smiled like nothing, and everything had changed. Sometimes, late at night, I'd stand at our bedroom window and see their curtains flat. 11, just 11, I left ours open. Asleep. A breath, I don't know if they looked. I don't know if I wanted them to. David started touching me again, small things. His hand on the small of my back when we passed in the hallway. His fingers brushing mine when he took the coffee mug. Not like before. Not out of habit. Like he was leaning the map me all over again. One night, months later, Sepa went out in a storm. We lit candles, the same brand Sage favored. Though neither was admitted it, and sat on the living room floor because the couch felt too big. In the flickering gold, David finally spoke. Was it what you needed? Asked, voice rough. He thought about lying. He thought about all the sciences. Instead he told the truth. I don't know what he needed, he said. But I know he needed to be seen. Even if it was just for a moment, it was quiet, so long I thought it was intense. Then he reached for my hand, threaded our fingers like he used to when we were new. I saw you, I whispered. That night, I finally saw you. I started crying then, silent and messy, the kind that comes from somewhere deeper than sadness. He put me into his lap like he weighed nothing, and held me while the storm raged outside and the candles burned low. We didn't fix everything that night. Some cracks stay cracked. Some silences never fill. But the next morning he left his phone on the counter when he kissed me goodbye. A real kiss. The kind that lingers. I still catch myself looking toward their house sometimes. Ethan and Sage moved away last spring, no jobs, no city, no chapter. They left no note, no wet goodbye. Just an empty driveway and kittens that no longer move in the breeze. I miss the danger of them. I miss the way they made me feel electric and reckless and young. But I do not miss the halo that came after. David and I are learning a new language now. It is a Clancy. We stumble over words we never needed before. Want, fear, figure, stay. Some nights we still sleep and always separates tights at the bed. Some nights we don't sleep at all, but when he reaches for me in the dark now, his hand finds mine without etching. And when I look in the mirror, I see a woman who was brave enough to risk disappearing in order to remember she was real. I don't know if what we did was betrayal or resurrection. Maybe it was both. Maybe every marriage has a night it either breaks open or breaks apart. All I know is this. Sometimes you have to let strangers witness your unraveling so sepes and WHO. Promise forever can find that thread to stitch you back together, and sometimes, just sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is close the curtains, turn off the lights, and choose to see each other in the dark.